Long before factories and big city music stores, the mountains of Appalachia rang with the sound of homemade instruments. That's right. In the 1700s and the early 1800s, families who were isolated in these mountains relied on their own hands and what the land had to offer. So, if a man wanted a fiddle, well, he just carved one. Or, if the church needed music, somebody would whittle out a fretboard or hammer out a banjo rim with the abundant supply of black walnut, curly maple, cherry, and Appalachian spruce that grew thick along the ridges. And these mountain craftsmen, well, they knew exactly how to coax a voice out of every grain of that wood. By the late 1800s, home-built fiddles and banjos were as common as cornbread, and every community seemed to have one or two makers, folks who were talented and could shape a block of maple into something that could make the whole holler start dancing. These instruments became family heirlooms and have survived for generations, telling the story of the mountains. And as string band music took hold in the early 1900s, the region's luthiers began experimenting with new designs that were guided by nothing more than instinct or borrowed patterns and a keen ear for tone. And what they lacked for in formal training, well, they made up for it with patience and skill and a lifelong relationship with the wood that surrounded them. By mid-century, certain names began to rise, builders who blended old-time mountain know-how with modern precision, and they would pave the way for today's master luthiers. And soon, those quality instruments from Appalachia began to travel far beyond the ridge lines, and were now some of the most sought-after instruments in the world. And that's where the story of Audey Ratliff begins, in a little shop in Church Hill, Tennessee, surrounded by old hand tools, tone woods, and decades of experience. He still carries forward a craft that is as old as the mountains themselves. And in the process, he has quietly become one of the most respected mandolin builders in the world. Recently, I paid a visit to Audey's shop for a rare interview with the living legend himself. Hey guys, JD Phillips here from the Appalachian Storyteller. And many of you that have been watching the channel for a while know that I'm a lifelong musician. You see the instruments behind me when the videos start and things like that. And also the music that's in the videos. It's most of the music I composed it as well. Well, several months back, I reached out to Audey Ratliff to make me a custom-made mandolin. And so today we are here in Church Hill, Tennessee with the man himself. Nice to meet you, Audey.
Nice to meet you, Jay.
Thanks so much for having us here today, and really excited to pick up the instrument and learn a lot about you and the process. And you've been doing this now for
43 years, I imagine, yes.
43 years, and you've made how many mandolins?
Mandolins, almost 1,300, 1,290 some.
Each one by hand?
Yes. Well, my dad played dobro. He was a really good dobro player and played in bands and stuff. And somewhere around the age of 15, I decided that I was going to try to play the guitar, and back him up. And one thing led to another. And before you know it, I'm playing in a band with my dad and stuff. But I'd heard bluegrass all my life because that's really all Daddy ever had in the house. That's the only records that was ever allowed in the house.
And what a musical journey it was for Audey. During the 1970s, he was a founding member of a popular bluegrass group called the Boys in the Band, and then another bluegrass band from Pennsylvania called Whetstone Run, where Audey released his first professional bluegrass album. Later, Audey toured with Dr. Ralph Stanley all across the United States and England. And after winning first place in numerous mandolin competitions, Audey was soon a highly sought-after teacher and even holds the distinction of being the first teacher of the 11-time International Bluegrass Music Association Mandolin Player of the Year, Adam Steffi, who also has won 5 Grammys. Yet, despite his musical success, Audey quickly realized a major obstacle in his musical journey, and that was one that all left-handed musicians across the world face, and that was access to high-quality left-handed instruments. And here, Audey saw an opportunity.
when I first started learning to play, buying left-handed instruments really off of the shelf wasn't much of an option. But 2 or 3 years later, a fellow wrote a book. His name is Roger Seminoff, and it's a famous book constructing a bluegrass mandolin. And I ordered, as soon as the magazine ad came out, order this book. I ordered that book, and I read it about 4 or 5 times, and I came out and said, I think I can try that now.
In 1982, Audey Ratliff was working as a door-to-door salesman when he built his first left-handed mandolin. And within a couple days, he had sold it. So he built another. Again, it was scooped up quickly by an admiring musician. So he built a third, which was also quickly purchased. Convinced that he was onto something special, Audey quit his job as a salesman and he built a fourth mandolin. But this time, no one bought it. However, Audey was determined to pursue a career in building instruments. And now, 43 years later, he has perfected his craft to an absolute science.
The number of mandolins that I've made in the last 43 years has been pretty much 1,292. Probably a dozen guitars, 3 or 4 fiddles, a bass. And we at one point we did about 200 dulcimers. So the annual output works out to be about somewhere between 18 and 22 or 23 mandolins a year. Most of the maple that I use came from local areas. I had a friend of mine that was actually a logger, and when he saw pretty curly or figured maple as he was cutting the trees down, he always laid that off for himself, had it all sawed up, and I bought a whole bunch of wood off of him. So that's where I got my stock for curly maple. The spruce, which is it's the part that you make the top out of, the guy I buy from either gets his logs from up in West Virginia. There's some sort of deal with the National Park Service that if you don't use any kind of power tools or tear up the land, that you're allowed to get a permit and take downed trees that have fallen naturally. You're not allowed to saw anything, but stuff that's fallen naturally, you're allowed to harvest that. All right, this is my Country Boy model. It is made with the same quality construction level and the same quality of woods and everything as the more ornate Master model. It just doesn't have all the bells and whistles and all of the fancy schmancy stuff. It has a single piece of binding on the top and no pearl inlay, and that's pretty much it. When I'm roughing the parts out, I have no idea which style mandolin that they're going to be. So I try to do as good a job on the Country Boys as I do on the Master models.
Well, guys, several months ago, I reached out to Audey and I asked him if he would build a mandolin for me. And so we talked about all of the things that he could possibly do, the types of wood and the process. And we finally settled on a R5 Master model, which is the top of the line mandolin that you make. Mm-hmm. And so I've been waiting as patient as I could to see this. And so here we are now, and we're finally going to open this up for the first time. So wow, check this out. What a beauty. What a beauty. Here we are. This is the R5 Master Series here. Wow, tell me something about this.
Well, it's got red spruce top, quarter sawn, curly maple sides. Very nice single piece back for curly maple back and neck. It has the best of Rubner tuners on it. It has a James tail piece, 3-ply binding, and by that it's got a white outer strip, a black strip, and then a white inner strip, so that it's layered front and back. It has a high gloss finish on it, mother of pearl inlay.
Now, do you make all this the finish yourself? is it hand applied? Do you spray it? How do you do
I do
that?
spray the sunburst. Will usually start with the hand wiped color and then airbrush.
So between the hand rub and the spraying, and I'm sure you probably have to sand and
Many
buff
times.
and things
Yeah,
like
oh,
that.
absolutely, yes.
How long does
Days worth.
how long does the process take to get this finish?
From start to finish, probably about a week or 10 days before I can say, okay, I'm happy enough to hang it in the drying box and let it cure.
Audey, was any of the wood that was used on this, was any of this repurposed from the national parks?
This piece right here,
Okay, and
Yeah.
tell me again, what is this piece?
red spruce.
So the red spruce, and is this what they actually call Appalachian spruce?
It is, because it grows heavily in the
But
Appalachians.
that's pretty cool that this was actually harvested from a national park.
Mhm.
Really cool. Well, Audey, thanks so much for allowing us to come in
Well, I'm glad you came.
and learn about your operation and tour your shop and even send us home with a gift. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
So one more time, if people want to reach out to you and learn how they can get an instrument or talk to you about the process, how could they go ahead and do that?
Well, they can just contact me. I have a website. It's ratliffmandolins.com, and I'm also have YouTube videos out, and the channel is Ratliff Mandolins, and folks just call me on the telephone and we chat all the time. So you want me to build you a mandolin, give me a call.
All right. Thanks again, brother. We really appreciate you. You guys be sure to check out his website and go check out his YouTube channel. Thanks so much to Audey for letting us come in and take a look around in his shop and to show the world what true Appalachian craftsmanship looks like. Finally, we can't talk about mandolins for a whole episode and not at least pick one, so let's pick one. Thanks so much for watching this episode, everybody. And also thank you to the sponsor, tnnursery.net. Check out how you can earn 15% off of your next purchase. Hey guys, JD Phillips here from the Appalachian Storyteller. Today's video is sponsored by tnnursery.net.
Family owned and operated in the heart of Appalachia, TN Nursery ships beautiful plants and trees all across America. Perennials, ferns, vines, trees, and much, much more. Click the link in the description to shop America's favorite garden shop for quality landscaping trees and plants. Get 15% off of your order by using promo code STORYTELLER at checkout.